Hello, guys. Nice to see you. Nice to meet you. Thank you for inviting me to this amazing event, and I'm really pleased to see so many colleagues here and friends. So today, I'm going to talk to you about the journey to engineering predictability and talk to you about some hands-on agile techniques. I'm head of software engineering in Hack the Box, responsible for the work that 5 product teams are doing. In Hack the Box, for those that might not know, we are creating a cybersecurity experience. We're actually experts in cybersecurity training. And we are also providing to you some labs so as to practice hacking techniques on real environments. So I'm going today to touch a story that is might be pretty common or pretty familiar to many of you. Once upon a time, there was a software development team that was struggling to deliver its goals and projects, and maybe was always a bit behind of schedule, and maybe was not, meeting the expectations, and so on and so forth. And the word delay comes into our mind. So I'd like to go a bit back, so from where this might be coming from. So I want to start discussing and talk to you about the word estimation. So if I'm going to ask you what an estimation is, probably you are going to tell me that, okay, it's my best guess assumption when something will be ready. Probably if you are a project manager or an engineer that you want to give a specific date, or, probably this is what you are going to say. Or if you just want to size the engineering effort, perhaps maybe for someone for sales to create a contract, you're probably going to say that, okay, it's 3 man-days of work, and so on and so forth. So the estimate, yes, it's something that you need to have there to measure, but hold on, what's the real purpose of the estimate, right? So here, from Steve McConnell, who is who is an expert in software engineering, I found this, which I really like, which says, estimation is not to predict a project's outcome, is to determine whether a project's target are realistic enough to allow the project to be controlled to meet the goals. So here, what I have is uncertainty. What is uncertainty? Well, uncertainty, from my perspective, is the gap among estimation and commitment. So when I say I estimate this to be ready by then of course there is some uncertainty. And the key thing, as you can see also in the graph, here I'm just depicting the cone of uncertainty. If you search a little bit about that, what it really says to you is that in the earlier stage you tend to give an estimate, or you are pushed, or you are asked, which is pretty fine. We all have been there one way or another with maybe some sort of fewer requirements, as said previously from other colleagues. Then you just realize that the earlier you provide an estimate, the most, probably is that you will just, maybe you are going to be 2 or even 4 times outside your even first guess. So, acknowledgement of where you stand in the cone is actually what I mean by predictability. I will demystify that a bit more, but before going forward, I would like to just put down some key factors that will allow us to manage uncertainty in real-life scenarios. So what I have here is pretty much the iron triangle. So for those that might not have heard it before, this is a tool that will make you have a think what you need to have in mind when you are working on software development projects. So what does this really say, right? You have product that gives you something to be done. This is scope, right? You have actually the cost, which is pretty much the resources, people that are working there, maybe 4 or 5 engineers, which is pretty fine. You have quality. What is this? This is something that you need to be very, very careful, because if you start touching and playing that a bit and you start messing up with quality, you might then start having bad impact to your business, which is definitely something you don't want to happen, right? And you have also time. So time, what it means is if you have a hard deadline. I want this feature by Christmas. Why? Because it's Santa Claus. I cannot, just give it in another time. So this is the key 4 factors you have to have in mind. And in software development, we just need to realize that we have a series of trade-offs among these 4 pillars. What simply says, don't touch quality, but play around with the other parameters. So, for example, if you have a hard deadline, you have standard resources, then to meet your deadline, you need to collaborate with product so as to balance a bit scope, so as to meet your goal. So from where this uncertainty comes, right? Okay, some people say, okay, I don't know, I don't want to get bothered with technicalities. It's fine, you don't have to be there. You just need to understand that there is uncertainty, and we have to acknowledge that, right? Our colleague before just said the word empathy, and this is what we just need to know. We have a requirement that might be changing, some dependencies, some, things that might change. In software development, we are in a highly volatile area, and all the software around us is constantly changing. And to manage uncertainty, I'm going to measure it, right? And yeah, this is the solution. We come up with a bunch of KPIs. We measure velocity, cycle time, lead time, and you are going to, if you check the bibliography, you are going to find a bunch of nice metrics. You can start spending too much time to implement, and then you will have something to just start taking some decision based on some data, and then your gut feeling probably will, okay. Yes, you can do that, but as you realize, this might start being more complicated than expected. So what we say here, and what is something we have been trying to do, just to start simple and get up to speed. We said, okay, why not just introduce one single KPI? What is this? This is predictability. And predictability, it's not something new in agile software development. Refers to the ability of the development team to achieve the goals that have promised. You don't have to be 100%. This would be ideal if you are there, you are in your comfort zone, you are not innovating. Probably you are not in the right place, right? But you need to know exactly where you stand. Why? Number 1 is trust. When you are working on software engineering, you just need to know where you stand so as to build trustworthy relationship with product, and product it's not on its own. It has sales that are trying to work over there and try to, sell the product and help your product grow. And this is my favorite number 1 enabler, but of course you have more and more things that can get achieved. So for example, if you are predictable and you know how much predictable you are, you can start doing a better planning. You can start be able to, forecast a bit more, right? So my one motto that I found, and I really like, and we are working towards this direction, is try to focus on predictability, measure it, see where you stand, and then speed will follow. I will tell you exactly how this is done, but if you start, the experience says that if you start just observing predictability and the trends, you just are able to start working on a continuous improvement mindset. Which agile framework provides predictability? Again, might not be tied to a specific framework, but as said before, this comes from SAFe, Scaled Agile Framework. So what it really says, okay, measure actual versus planned. This is what it simply says. And of course, a saying from Bill Gates that is one of my favorites, says that, okay, in software engineering, in software, it's going to be really hard to become predictable, so 100% predictable, so we just need to accept it. There are some key techniques to enable and start cultivating predictability. The word continuous, again, is my favorite one, because this is where you start building and integrating the good habits. And the good habits following a specific principle set and framework. Why you need that? So that we can all get aligned, coordinate, and start working on the same direction. So in a nutshell, predictable software development, I would say, is the ability for a project team to see the entire picture of the end product before beginning the development. So in order to do that, you need to be able to estimate. You need to be able to estimate so as to ensure that you control the project. And if you are not able to estimate, then you cannot control, and then you might need to go some steps back and start with some simpler commitments and goals. We said that there is the concept of MVP, post-MVP, and so on and so forth. Is a concept actually to help you build and maintain trust among engineering and key stakeholders, and enables forecasting, planning, better decision-making, and at the end, to manage expectations. Of course, there's a strategy, methodology, and proper tooling that will be needed for you to do that. So I'm just going to go quickly through the key techniques. Number one is you need to have a metric, a workload metric. So you can use any metric you like. Typically in the software development, if you want to check how predictable is the engineering plan, which means what the engineering says will do, it you might also have heard it, is the story point. So this is number one you just need to define. Of course, we have tried to do that also in the business area, so we also measure predictability, not in terms of engineering plan, but also in the value we deliver, the features we deliver. Features is the way that we make money, right? Things that we can sell or can bring us more users. So same techniques, similar techniques are used there, but we are not having the story point, we're just having the business value point. But you get the point. You just set some goals at the beginning, you just estimate or set what you think will happen in the future, and then you measure against the future. Number two is the time box. As has been said before, is the period. Typically, you might also have heard it, is the sprint. Some teams have 2-week sprints, some teams have 1-month sprint. It's up to you, but you need to have a time box. And at the end of the time box, so what really happens, at the beginning, you just measure what you estimate will happen at the end. And when the time box ends, after the 2-week period, you just measure what you have achieved. As simple as that. It does not matter if it took 1 day or 2 or 3, you just measure what you managed to do at the end of the period. And just forget all the scrutiny. Oh, it took me 2 hours. No, it was 2 hours and a half. Oh, yeah. So forget about this. You just measure that simply. And at the end, you just take the ratio. So as an example, if at the beginning we say as a team, okay, let's put there that we are going to do some work of 100 points. Point is the arbitrary measure we decided to work together as a team, right? And at the end, we say how much we managed to complete. Complete, what does that mean? We delivered that on where we promised to do, right? Typically needs to be on a production system so that end users have tangible benefit of that. But might not be always that case. It's important, though, as a team to agree where we deliver. Might just be a proof of concept that we demoed. It's fine. We delivered that if we manage to demo that. So this is what we need to measure. So if at the end we say that, oh, okay, out of 100 we managed to do 65 things, then this is our predictability. 65%. It's not bad, right? At least we know what it is. And the final technique is that keep doing that. This is a habit. It's not there to tell you if this number is good or bad. Just keep going. How to implement these steps? Just tell the team what you do, why you do it. Tell them, be open that you want to measure. Be open that you want to start predicting. Be open that you want to start using this as a mechanism, a tooling to build good habits. Get prepared the first time. Yes, you need to have goals. Yes, you need to have your team prepared. Yes, you need to tell them what exactly we'll be doing and provide them the information so that they can estimate, so that they can feel they control the project. Number 3, just start. You don't have to be perfect. Just send a date. Guys, on Monday, we are going to do that. Give them some time to prepare. We will never have the perfect time, so we just need one way or another to start. The fourth how-to I have there is measure, tune, go. Do not stop to measure. Sometimes, the results might not be as good as you want it to be. It's fine. The numbers are not there just to judge us. It's to just help us understand what is going on. It's not necessarily something bad. We just need to understand why this is happening. Consistency. Don't stop doing that. Keep measuring and observe. Observe is something that helps us just understand where things are going and avoid, the blame game that was mentioned before. As I said before, just practice, keep moving, manage uncertainty. When you will start doing that, uncertainty, what really does that mean? Means that I'm afraid or I have a hunch that I cannot estimate, right? So if you are there, it's fine. It's not something bad. You just need to break down things. You just need to make a smaller commitment. Or you might just have to time box something. So as a team, you might say, okay, I want to start exploring this new product or this new library, but I don't really know what will happen. It's fine. Let's agree to invest there 2 days to see what's going on. It's not necessarily that we have to commit something. So have this in mind and break it down. Invest and evolve. This is totally great thing to have in mind, because if you do not invest, then you are not becoming better. And this is the key thing. You need to start investing. So if you are an engineering team that you have problems in unit testing, start investing. You will not go to 90% coverage in 1 day, but you need to start even investing 2 days of work for someone to just tell you how to write unit tests or do a proof of concept if you have never done it before. Prioritize and focus. So pretty much these are the key techniques. The most important thing is to acknowledge where you are, and the reason for that is you don't have to be right about the future, right? You just have, though, to create the future. And our job here, either as product managers or as engineers, our job is to optimize a system and move towards the right direction. We just don't have to be accurate, right? Some 6 takeaways I'd like to share with you. Dream big, start small, start now. Consistency, as I said, is the DNA of mastery. Just be consistent, like in the gym. If you stop going there and you expect to be nice, just going there 1 month per year, it's not going to work. Focus on what we can do better and what disrupts us, over whose fault is that. This will unlock forward thinking instead of a blame game, as was also mentioned in previous talks. Start with biggest outliers. So, for example, if your team might have 100 problems, it's fine. Just pick up one, even the most easy one. So just raise your sleeves and do something about that. Listen carefully. So predictability, if you start discussing and observing, you'll start hearing many, many different things. So listen carefully and just try something new each time. Might be a new tool, a best practice, or just, something like a technique that as a team you can start using. And last but not least, involve people. Delegate. Give them responsibility. And push the limits. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mihaly. We have some questions. We have limited time. I think we can take one or two questions. First question, product will ask estimations very early in the process and sometimes inside to help the prioritization. How can you help with this? How can you handle this?
Yes, this is typically the case. So in order to do that, you just need to prepare a bit earlier in the sprint to happen. So you just need to have some time so as to understand what is going on, so as to be able to control the project. And regarding the prioritization, this also helps you understand how things can start working. And this is, again, a collaboration among engineering and product. Sometimes we need to balance among the things that have high business value, but we should not also forget things that have high technical value as well, so as to balance a bit the speed. If you forget technical value things, the competitors probably will start overcoming and become much faster than you. So it's a matter of trade-off and good collaboration among product and engineering.
Awesome. Thank you very much. One last question, because I see the votes. So how can we give the engineering team the platform to actually be involved in the product development before and create the product together with the product managers?
Actually, this is a very good question. So before or after is always, a trade-off. For me, it's just to start working together. So once we have something in mind, once we feel that we have a strategy, once we think we have a pillar, we just need to share that immediately, give people some time to brainstorm, come back, work together, and let's agree together how things will happen. It's not a silo product, just want this, and engineering wants that. It's a great relationship we need to build. As was said in previous talks, we need to be best buddies rather than seeing, one as opponent of the other.
Great, great. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Nice to see you.